Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I feel like the Truman Show right now. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to another Sessionwire live demo. Today we're going to be talking about Studio One alongside the Sessionwire app. If you're new to these live streams, I hate to disappoint, but this is not going to be a deep dive into Studio One workflows or routing or anything like that. This is a demo to get you up and running with Studio One and the Sessionwire application so that you can stream audio back and forth across the internet to anyone in the world. Just making sure that I've got everything set up here. If you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up in the comments. Say hello, tell me your name, where you're from. I love seeing where people drop in from. Was on Instagram Live earlier and somebody was watching from Hamburg, Germany. Big fan of Germany. I would like to get there in the summer sometime. I think that's going to happen. So a little aside there. Once again, welcome to the stream. My name is Brendan Lyons. Throughout this stream, if you have questions, please put them in the comment section. I try to answer all of the questions as they come in real time. If I don't get to them all, I'll usually just kind of like type in an answer, or you can actually email me at support@sessionwire.com, and I'm more than happy to have a chat or set up a Sessionwire call, and we can talk about your use cases and your workflow, and we'll get you up and running. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the Sessionwire application here. Check some settings out. I'll give you a quick walkthrough. Oh, Greater Fort Smith, Arkansas. Amazing. Marion, good to see you. Houston, amazing. Oh, yes. I've seen you around a lot. It's funny seeing the little usernames. I see the username and like your actual name just will not come into my head. So apologies for that. It's been a heck of a weekend. Yeah, we don't need to get into that. Essentially, I'm a dad now, so things are a little bit hectic around here at the moment in a good way. So Queens, New York, awesome. New York, great to have you here. Seems to be a lot of people from the New York area, New Jersey, the Bronx, Brooklyn, quite a few, obviously lots of studios around there. So it's very cool to see people pop in from that area. Okay, Sessionwire app. Here we go. This is pretty small. I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. This is the Sessionwire application. So if you haven't seen this yet, this is the centerpiece of the Sessionwire ecosystem at the moment. This application is where you will connect with anybody in the world on Sessionwire at the moment. In the future, you won't actually have to have your client download and install Sessionwire if you want them to drop in on a mix session or work with you remotely, and that's we can talk about that another time. So lots of exciting things coming, but for now, this is the centerpiece of the Sessionwire ecosystem. You have to download and install Sessionwire in order to use it. It installs this application as well as a handful of drivers and plugins that allow you to bridge your DAW with the Sessionwire app. So if I mouse over my side of the screen here, I can see 4 buttons pop up. And these 4 buttons have largely to do with the 3 data streams that we use to channel audio and video back and forth. The Talkback audio stream, which is mono, has noise suppression and echo cancellation. The video stream, which is also where you do screen sharing and that kind of thing. It's essentially a data stream. There will be a chat function coming in the future. There's a file transfer system, etc. And the HQ audio stream, which is our unprocessed audio stream. Whatever you put into it comes out the other side in stereo exactly as you hear it locally. So for example, I track drums for clients all the time out of my studio. I put the Sessionwire Send plugin, that's the bridge from my DAW to the Sessionwire app. I put that on my master fader, and my client can hear exactly what's coming out of my Pro Tools system as it is here. Any EQ moves, any compression moves, they hear it exactly as I'm hearing it here. Any mic movements, mic placement issues that need to happen, you know, hey, that kick drum mic sounds too clicky or too woofy. Can you move it? Yes, I can move it. And they can hear the changes, the subtle changes over the Sessionwire app. So that part never gets old for me, connecting with a client. Or, you know, for example, I had the pleasure of connecting with J.R. Robinson on a Sessionwire call, and he played drums over the Sessionwire connection. And as a drummer, that was yeah, if you know who J.R. Robinson is, don't need to say anymore. So here we go, mousing over the 4 buttons here. The leftmost button is a little microphone, and this corresponds to the Talkback stream. This is how you'll communicate verbally across the Sessionwire connection. Again, it has noise suppression and echo cancellation and is mono. You won't want to like record it, most likely. So you'll set this up exactly like you would any video communication software. The microphone will be set either to a webcam microphone like this guy. This is a Logitech C920, a very affordable webcam, good picture, decent audio quality. You can also set it to your audio interface with a microphone plugged into channel 1, which I have here. This is my Orion Studio Synergy Core. This microphone is plugged into channel 1, and I can see my Talkback meter bouncing, which means I have my Talkback going into Sessionwire, so as long as whoever I'm connected with has their speaker set appropriately, they'll be able to hear me. The speaker you can set to the audio interface as well, so that the incoming Talkback audio goes straight to the audio interface. There's no need to route it into the DAW unless you need to set up some headphone cues and route the Talkback to an artist in like a vocal booth or something like that. That's a bit more of an advanced workflow we'll get into down the line. You can also set it to like internal speakers or a built-in output if you have headphones plugged directly into your computer. These 2 settings should be set to hardware devices, not to the Sessionwire plugins, unless you need to route that audio in and out of your DAW. Pro Tools HDX users need to do that quite often because Pro Tools hijacks all of the Avid drivers, and you can't actually select them in any other application while running Pro Tools. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is the Talkback stream. The next button over is the video button, the video stream. You can select anything from, you know, like an OBS virtual camera if you want to do some camera switching. You've got multiple cameras in your studio and you don't have a hardware switcher. You can use OBS to switch between your cameras and insert or inject that video stream here. Epic Cam is a very cool app. It allows you to use your phone as a wireless webcam. So you install the app on your phone, you install the driver on your computer, and you can use your phone as a webcam. I quite often use it as like a foot cam. I'll put my phone down by my foot and, you know, people can see what I'm doing down there. Or if I need to like show a mic placement, I can use Epic Cam, show the mic placement, switch back to my good camera here. Anyway, it's a camera. Pick a camera, it'll work. The next button over is screen sharing. Much like any video communication software these days, pardon me, you can select a screen, so an entire desktop, or the window of an app that's open on your desktop. Something to note about that is that you will not see any child windows of a window that you pick. So if I had, you know, Studio One up here, if I selected the Studio One window instead of my entire screen, I probably won't see the plugin show up because it won't show the child windows that pop up from that app. So something to keep in mind. The next button over, the little Sessionwire logo, is the HQ audio stream, and it defaults as such. The source of the HQ audio on my computer for the Sessionwire app defaults to the Sessionwire Send plugin. So all I have to do is place the Send plugin on the master fader, and I'm sending audio. So why don't we do that really quick? Studio One. Here's Studio One. I'll bring Sessionwire back to the foreground here, always on top. And I have a session open here on the main fader, and I'm going to use the main fader and not the listen bus just to kind of keep parity with Studio One 4. I don't believe there was a listen bus, so I'm just going to can that guy. And on this guy, I'm going to insert the Sessionwire Send plugin. And we'll see signal show up here in the main fader, here in the Send plugin, and here in the HQ audio meter in the Sessionwire app because I've got the source set to the Sessionwire Send plugin. Here we go. Great. Signal showing up everywhere. I think you should be able to hear that just fine if I have everything set up here. Let me just try this one more time. Yes, I have it set up correctly. So I am now successfully streaming my DAW audio into Sessionwire. I can see the meters moving here, which means I've looked after my part of the call. Whoever I'm connected with will make sure that their Sessionwire HQ destination right here, this bottom half, is set to a device that they can hear audio out of. It'll likely be identical to the speaker of the Talkback stream. So in my case, it's my audio interface, my Orion Studio Synergy Core. So if I'm connected to this guy, Dan Smith. It's a demo computer over here. I'm connected to somebody. If they play audio, I'm going to see it in their HQ audio meter, and I'm going to hear it straight out of my audio interface. I'm not going to see any signal show up in Studio One, which is a good thing for now. So I'll get Dan to play some audio here. Great. Shout out to my musicians in basements drinking coffee crew. It's a little side project I have. This is a tune that we recorded here in my studio. Shout out to those guys. We saw Dan's audio meter moving here perfectly. I heard the audio coming out of my headphones, and I think you should have heard it as well. So that's it. We're now streaming audio back and forth across the Sessionwire connection using only the send plugins. So this is great for like trading ideas back and forth. Hey, check this drum part out. Play it. Hey, check this guitar part out the other way. Play it. If you like it, then you record it and you send the stem over and drop it in your own session. Okay? If I wanted to be able to record the incoming audio from whoever I'm connected with, there are a couple ways to do this in Studio One. This is one of the cool things about Studio One is you're able to put inserts on hardware inputs. So if I show the input tab here on the left-hand side, I can show the stereo left, right, and the input left and input right, the mono inputs. This is how Studio One kind of defaults. So if I open the I/O window here, we'll have a look. My inputs are really basic right now. I don't have all the inputs from my audio interface set up. This is fine for now. We can see that channel 1 of my audio interface is this microphone. We can see the signal moving perfectly. The left side of the stereo left-right input is bouncing. That's perfect. What I'm going to do to get set up, and this is kind of the more advanced way of setting up Studio One, and I think it works really well. I'm going to go into the I/O window. I'm going to create a dummy stereo input. So this is going to be called Sessionwire Receive. We're going to call it that for now anyways. Receive, spelling, Brendan. And I'm going to go apply, and it's going to create this dummy input that I'm going to actually route through channels 23 and 24 on my interface because I'm not using them for anything. So now I have this dummy stereo input called Sessionwire Receive in my mixer. And if I insert the Sessionwire Receive plugin there, and I go to the Sessionwire app, and I change my HQ Audio destination to Sessionwire Receive plugin, when Dan plays the music, we're going to see his meter move here in the Sessionwire app. We're going to see the Receive plugin meter move here. And I'm going to see it show up right here on this input, hypothetically. Okay? Here we go. We'll try this. Dan's going to play music. We're seeing the meter show signal in the Sessionwire Receive input. That essentially I'm using that hardware input. It's a dummy hardware input that has a Receive plugin on it coming from Sessionwire, which means I can route that anywhere as if it's a stereo microphone. Instead of having to create an audio track, put the plugin on it, and route that track to another track to record it, we've set up a fake microphone that is essentially Sessionwire. So I want to record that track. I'm going to go all the way to the end of my timeline here. I'm just going to put my cursor there. I'm going to create a stereo audio track. I'm going to label this, I don't know, Sessionwire incoming, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it that for now. And I'm going to set the input of this track to Sessionwire Receive input 2324. This dummy stereo input I've created. And if I input arm this or monitor it, and now Dan plays audio, we're going to hear it now, and we're going to see it show up in this meter, and I'll be able to adjust it. We'll also hear a problem. Check this out. Okay, what's the problem? Problem is, I'm looping that audio right back to Dan because Dan is sending it right here. We can see his meters moving. It's hitting the Sessionwire receive plugin, which means it's hitting this input, and it's being routed to this channel that I'm going to record it on. This channel is routed to the main output, which has the Sessionwire send plugin on it, which bounces the audio back out through Sessionwire back to Dan. So we're setting up a feedback loop right now. It's not good. So what I usually like to do, again, with the listen bus in Studio 1.5, you might find a different workflow that works for you, but this is what I like to do. I'm going to create, I'm going to go to the input and output routing window here. If you click the I/O window, the I/O button over here, I'm going to go to outputs. I'm going to create a stereo output. It's going to be called mix in big capital letters. And I'm going to route that out the same hardware outputs 1 and 2. So basically, it's a mirrored output to the main output that's already set up in Studio One. I have to show the outputs over here, so I just click the output button here, and it shows output. I'm going to slide the Sessionwire Send plugin onto this mix. Ooh, I lied. We're going to actually remove both of these. This happens. So if you have too many, you have more than one of the same Sessionwire plugin in the session, it'll show an error. You can't have more than one of the same plugin. You can only have one. So I'm going to go back in here, insert the Sessionwire Send plugin on the mix channel that I've just created. Okay? So this mix channel is now where I'm going to send anything that I want to send across the Sessionwire gap to whoever's monitoring. Okay? So now all of my drums, I can change them all to output mix. And the Sessionwire incoming channel that I'm going to record the incoming audio on is going to remain set to the main output, which means that this signal will be kind of running parallel to the send plugin but won't touch it, and I'll still be able to hear it. So now if Dan plays and I hit record in Studio One, we'll see the audio being recorded in this track right here. Here we go. Cool. Just had to get that organ fill in there. So there we go. We have it recorded. Now, if I wanted to play that back to Dan so he could hear it from my timeline, right now, if I hit play, he's not going to hear this. It's just coming out of my main output and not touching the send plugin. Goodness, it's dry here. So I can hear that in my headphones, but you can't hear that because it's not going out through Sessionwire yet. It's coming out of this main output that has no plugins on it. So if I wanted Dan to hear it, I would just change the output of that channel to mix. Boom, done. Streaming across, okay? This is one way to get set up. The other way to set up is to set up like a headphone cue type situation. So let's see here. Oh, yay. I got to get my my shortcuts in Studio One here. Right. Okay. So we're going to do it the other way here too. So we can set up a headphone cue type situation. So I'm going to get rid of the send plugin. I'm going to get rid of this mix bus by going into the I/O window and deleting that mix bus. Yes, I want to remove it. Apply. Good. So now we're just left with this main output, which is fine. We're still set up to receive the audio, which means that we can record it on this track. So that's good. We're going to create a new, let's see where it is here. Audio, add tracks. We're going to try add tracks here. Type audio. Where did my sends go? Sends. Yeah, sends. Right, there we go. So anything that I want to send across the Sessionwire, I'm going to create a send, and I'm going to create an FX channel. So this FX channel, I can label Sessionwire send. And this is where I'm going to insert my Sessionwire send plugin. Okay? I'm kind of flying through this, so if you have questions, put in the comments, hold on, Brendan, you're going way too fast. Slow down. Also, just if you have questions in general, throw them in there. It's gone quiet in the comment section. So if you're just joining, let me know where you're from. Say hi, drop your name. Love to hear from people from different parts of the world. Okay, so we have this effect send in here. So now, basically, I'm only sending my kick drum because I have this send on the kick in. So if I hit play here, oops, we got to go back to my timeline here. I'm only sending my kick drum right now, so we don't have to like drag these sends all the way across. We can build kind of like a custom mix for whoever's on the other side of the Sessionwire connection, which is kind of cool. You know, if you're tracking a remote vocalist and you're recording them directly into Studio One, you can set up a custom mix for them. You'll still be dealing with a latency issue, but that's something we'll talk about in a later video. So yeah, here's the mix. You can also change it to be pre or post fader. So if you want it to mimic the mix that you have set up here, you can set it to post fader, the send. If you want to set up that custom mix, it'll be pre fader. You mouse over pre fader on or off. I can't remember which one is which, blue or yellow. If you're a Studio One user, you'll know. There we go. We're sending and receiving audio again. Okay. Now we're going to route the Talkback audio in and out of Studio One, and we're going to do this. Hey, Rick, Oregon, nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Raul, good to see you. It's been a while. Shoot me an email. Tell me how things are going. We are going to route Talkback in and out of Studio One now. And again, this is only something you need to do if you have to. If you can't get your microphone plugged into channel 1 of your audio interface to route it directly into Sessionwire, if you're using a Pro Tools HDX system, which you won't be if you're using Studio One, or if you have to route that Talkback audio to somebody that's in a vocal booth and you have like a headphone Q mix set up in Studio One, which you can do with their new kind of hybrid engine, the real-time kind of processing. I can't remember what it's called with Presonus's new audio interfaces. It's very slick. I wish I could remember what it's called, but I can't. Let me know in the comments what it's called. Here we go. We're going to create a mono audio track. I'm going to label this Sessionwire Talkback Send. The input is going to be the left side of the input that I've created. It's basically input 1 for me. You know, if we can go into the audio I/O thing here, and I can relabel this input 1, input 2. That might clear things up a little bit. So input 1 for me is this microphone. If I monitor this, we'll see signal. Great. I will insert the Sessionwire Talkback Send plugin here. And if I input monitor this again, we'll see the signal show up in that plugin. And now in Sessionwire, I'm going to change the microphone to Sessionwire Talkback Send plugin. I'm going to mute that channel too so we don't get the feedback. But now my audio, my Talkback audio is coming from Studio One. It's this microphone into the Studio One via input 1, back to Sessionwire via the Sessionwire Talkback Send plugin. Okay. Marion has a question we're going to answer really quick. I'm having some computer issues right now, so I haven't been able to get my Sessionwire to work yet. I will have a bunch of questions. Yes, please do. We've talked before. Send me an email, support@sessionwire.com, brendan@sessionwire.com. However you want to reach out to me, just let me know if you need a hand kind of dealing through your computer issues. I'll see what I can do as well. The Indelibles. Wow, that sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar? You're welcome. Thanks for dropping by. It's on the tip of my tongue where I know that name from. Where are we here? Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're routing Talkback audio out to Sessionwire. We're going to bring the Talkback audio from Sessionwire in to Studio One now. So I'm going to, well, first of all, I like to do this as well. Where are my colors? Yeah, so anything to do with Sessionwire in Studio One, I usually like to label or make orange, you know, like the Sessionwire orange. It's just an organization thing. Here we go. Create a mono track. I'm going to do the orange thing again. Orange. And I'm going to label it Sessionwire Talkback Receive. Ooh, RAM being eaten by standby. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Can't help you there. Sorry. Fingers crossed for you, though. Computer issues are the worst. Here we are. Sessionwire Talkback Receive plugin is going to go on this channel. Sessionwire Talkback Receive on the Sessionwire Talkback Receive channel. The output is going to remain main out. The input doesn't really matter as long as it's an active input. And we're going to set the speaker of the Sessionwire app to Sessionwire Talkback Receive plugin. So now, if Dan was to talk, we'll get Dan to talk over here. There we go. So if I talk into this over here, we can see the meters moving right here in the Talkback Receive plugin and here in Studio One, which means that I can send to another bus channel, another FX channel. I can send. I'll get rid of that. That's kind of annoying. You can send that talkback audio to anywhere in your DAW, and therefore anywhere in any hardware that you've got connected. If you're more comfortable using the routing of Studio One rather than the hardware routing. This is it. This is the extent of like setting up Sessionwire alongside Studio One. All 4 plugins are being used right now. Again, you don't have to use all 4 of them. I highly suggest just using the Sessionwire Send plugin. So starting with all of the defaults in the Sessionwire app, let me just set these all back to the defaults really quick. Starting with the talkback stream, get that working. Use a microphone, like a hardware device you know picks up sound, and as long as you see your meter bouncing, that's great. Select a speaker that you know is a hardware device you'll hear sound out of. And the HQ audio stream, you don't really need to touch it. It defaults to the Sessionwire Send plugin as its source and a hardware device as its destination. So whatever's being streamed to me is going to go to my audio interface. This is the easiest way to get set up, is just using the Sessionwire Send plugin. Okay? That's it. Any further questions? Please put them in the comment section. These streams aren't meant to be any longer than a half an hour, so I kind of fly through things. They will remain live on YouTube and Facebook if you want to go back and reference some things. I will be doing more live streams every Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. PST. I'll be doing a live stream about something. 8 people watching and only 3 likes. Let's boost Sessionwire's algorithm. Yeah, hit the like, please. Exactly. Hit the like, hit the notification bell. Again, live on my computer. Grant Studio 9D says, I would like to have my mixing engineer mix live on my computer from his home. That is 100% possible. And in fact, we have people do that all the time. So what you'll do is you'll set up very basically, again, I'm going to get rid of these extra Sessionwire channels. Show track. No, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go remove. I'm going to remove this Sessionwire Send. Aux. Remove. I'm going to remove this input, this dummy input as well. So we're going to pair everything back again. Okay. So remove. Yes. Apply. Okay. And Sessionwire, I'm going to get rid of this too because we don't need that. Remove track. Good. So now we're back to square one. What you will do on your computer, if you want somebody to mix on your computer, on your main fader, you're going to insert the Sessionwire Send plugin, which, if you play the audio in the DAW, pardon me, I'm going to sneeze. If you play the audio, you see it show up in the Send plugin and in your HQ audio meter. You're set up. That's it. Your mix engineer will run Sessionwire only. They don't need a DAW open. They'll run Sessionwire, and they'll monitor your mix through it. They'll also run a remote desktop control software alongside it and control your computer using that. We will have remote desktop control built into the Sessionwire app at some point in the future. At this moment, we don't have that. However, we offer a service called Splashtop SOS that you can run alongside Sessionwire. It's an additional $10 USD a month. It's a fantastic service. It's very easy to use. You'll have them control your computer. You'll hear it coming out of your speakers. They'll hear it coming out of theirs just like it's their own computer. It's very slick. Hopefully that kind of answered that question. Red Shield EQ says, has audio send receive of DAW tracks by dropping on Sessionwire live visual connection been implemented yet? Audio send receive. That's an interesting question. Are you referring to the file transfer system? Perhaps. I will demonstrate that right now. Anyways, if that's not what you're asking, please, rephrase in a way that my foggy brain will will understand. The file transfer system, basically, you'll find the audio that you've recorded wherever it ended up. Studio One. How do I do this again? Chords, audio processing. No. I think we have to go into the no. No. Browse. There it is. Files, loops, files. Apologies for the lack of Studio One knowledge here. I'm usually I live in Pro Tools, but don't tell anybody that. Edit? No, not edit. Browse. There's got to be a way to show this file in the Finder window. Essentially what you'll do is you'll go and find the audio file in your Finder window, and you'll just drag it onto the remote pane of the Sessionwire app. So, general operations for events. Trim, copy, no. Nope. Hey. Usually so simple. Songs. Okay, here we go. Okay. There we go. So I found all of the audio files that are in this session, all of the individual parts. I will right-click on this and go Show in Finder, and you have to do it from the macOS or Windows File Explorer. Thank you. Going to get back to you. Awesome. Please do get back to me on the setup. So you'll go and find it in your File Explorer on Windows or your Finder window in macOS, and you'll drag that file straight on to the remote side of the app. It didn't work. I will say that the file transfer system is buggy at the moment. We're working on building out a much more robust system that's a part of a bigger update, so it's coming. You might just have to give us a little bit of extra time for that. But essentially, you just drag that file, and you see how this shows. Drag file here to start file transfer. As soon as you let go, there'll be a little progress bar up here that goes across. You have to drag one file at a time. So if I wanted to do all these drums, I would select them all and compress them into a zip file and then transfer that zip file. It's probably for the best anyways to make it go faster. It's highly dependent on bandwidth restrictions on both ends of the call. So if somebody has gigabit internet and one person is like limited to 10 megabytes up and down, not going to be a good time. Okay, so bear that in mind. Hopefully that answered your question, Red Shield EQ. If not, like I said, shoot me an email, brendan@sessionwire.com or support@sessionwire.com. Happy to jump in, get in here and give you a tour or do some testing. When it's time for the update, will that download automatically or will I have to trigger it? Good question. So Sessionwire, the application, will prompt you, as long as you're on a newer version of it, will prompt you that there is an update available. You can also go to the sprocket icon right here, top right-hand corner, and go to Community and click Check for Update, and it'll tell you if you're up to date or not. In the future, Sessionwire will automatically update behind the scenes. You will not have to check for updates for the application. The only updates you'll have to do are for the drivers and plugins, which we will announce and make a big deal out of and all that kind of thing. So there you go. That's how you update. I would honestly, once you've fixed your computer and you're ready to go, I would just hit our community.sessionwire.com website, go to the download page, download the new installer, and just reinstall it anyways. It doesn't hurt, you know. Let's see. Any more questions? No, not that I'm seeing. Awesome. That's going to be it for today. I think we'll tie it up there, unless I see another question pop into the comment stream. If you have not done so yet, please visit www.sessionwire.com. Sign up for your free account. You don't have to pay anything to be able to connect to another user with the Talkback stream and video. It's free. You can connect to somebody and get speaking with them as soon as you need the HQ audio stream. And our auto mute feature, which I didn't touch on, but is very simple up here in the sprocket icon. There's an auto mute feature for both local and remote audio. As long as you have one of our plugins in your DAW, if you hit play or record or whatever, it will automatically mute the Talkback stream. So if I hit play in here, we'll see this Talkback thing go red and my meter stop moving. So now I'm muted, and all we'll hear is the DAW audio going back and forth. Okay? Auto mute feature, that's a paid feature. That's part of our artist package. So if you go to www.sessionwire.com, have a look at the artist package of features. Things will be changing drastically in the near future. Lots of big updates coming, pro level features, multi-channel streaming, MIDI across the connection, all kinds of fun things. If you have any questions, support@sessionwire.com. Otherwise, happy creating. We'll see you next week. Just before we go, I should have this at the tip of my fingers here. Next week is going to be Mixbus 32C. I'm going to be demonstrating version 7. So if you want to check that out, you've never heard of Mixbus, please drop by. See you next week.